show you how to attach your I-cord to the bottom edge of a bonnet using an applied I-cord technique. So obviously when you're knitting your I-cord, you're using your double pointed needles. I'm using 3 stitches. It just makes a nice thin strap for a bonnet. And obviously you're always knitting in the same direction and making your cord. So how you do it is you knit a row, and normally you get to the end of this row and you would slide your stitches back to this end of the needle ready to knit the next row. We're actually going to keep them at that end ready to apply it to our bonnet. For the purpose of this tutorial, I've got a improvised teeny tiny bonnet. This is actually a swatch that I've sewn together at the back to make it look like a baby bonnet. Now if this was a bonnet, this would be the front where the face would be, and this is the bottom, which would go around the chin, and your straps would come out the sides here. So we actually need to apply the I-cord along this bottom edge, and how I like to do it is this. So I like to flip it upside down so that the right side is facing me. Some people do it from the wrong side. This is my preferred method, from the right side. So with the I-cord that you've been knitting, we've just worked a right side row, and now we're going to pick up our first stitch in this lower corner here. So I'm going to stick my needle through just anywhere on the edge there, nice and close to the edge, and I'm just going to grab, let's pull that out of the way, I'm just going to grab some of this working yarn and pull it up and through. Try that again. There we go. And I'm just going to pull that nice and snug. So now I've got 4 stitches on my needle. Now I'm going to slide. And we're going to keep working the I-cord because we're still working in the round like that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to knit across the first 2 stitches of the I-cord, and because the working yarn is coming a little bit further, I really want to snug it this time so that it's not getting loose and baggy at the back. Knit 2, and then we're going to slip this next stitch and the picked up stitch, and we're going to knit them both together through the back loop. So I just insert the left hand needle back through the front of those stitches. So now we're working the back loop of them. Pick up the working yarn and pull that through. And before we do anything else, we're going to stab this in here and pick up our next stitch. 4 stitches and slide. So we're going to knit 2, knit a stitch, knit a second stitch, keeping that working yarn nice and taut, and then we're going to slip, slip, and knit them through the back loop and pick up a stitch. And slide. So we knit 1, knit 2, slip, slip, and knit. Okay, so you can see now after working several stitches, and because I've done it in a contrasting colour, you can see how that I-cord looks when it's applied to the lower edge. The inside, you can see some of the stitches where they've been pulled through, and that's why I prefer to work it on the right side, because it kind of hides that. But you know, your mileage may vary, so if you do find it looking a bit shabby, try it from the opposite edge, which would mean you just pick it up and work it with the wrong side facing you. This is the way I prefer to do it. When you get to the other end and you've picked up the very last stitch, then you just continue with the 3 stitches, continuing the rest of your I-cord until it is all complete. And that is how the I-cord looks when applied to the edge of anything. Actually, you can do it on any edge at all. It gives a nice finished edge, but especially for baby bonnets where you want those ties.